Investigation 2. The ideal unity of a species and modern theories of abstraction. Introduction. Following the discussions of the last investigation, we grasp the ideal unity of a meaning in the light of the act character of signification. This signification's peculiar tincture distinguishes the meaning consciousness of a given expression from that of one which differs in meaning. This does not of course mean that this act character is the concrete reality upon whose basis the meaning of species is constituted for us. The relevant concrete reality is rather the total experience of the understood expression, which is informed by this act character as its animating tincture. The relation between the meaning and the significant expression, or its meaning tincture, is the same as the relation, for example, between the species red and the red object of intuitive experience, or the moment of red which appears in this object. When we mean red in specie, a red object appears before us, and in this sense we look towards the red object to which we are nevertheless not referring. The moment of red is at the same time emphasized in this object, and to that extent we can again say that we are looking towards this moment of red. But we are not referring to this individually definite trait in the object, as we are referring to it when, for example, we make the phenomenological observation that the moments of red in the separate portions of the apparent object's surface are themselves separate. While the red object and its emphasized moment of red appear before us, we are rather meaning the single identical red, and are meaning it in a novel conscious manner, though which precisely the species, and not the individual, becomes our object. The same would apply also to a meaning in its relation to an expression, and an expression's meaningful orientation, whether this expression relates to a corresponding intuition or not. Meaning as a species therefore arises out of the above-mentioned background through abstraction, but not through abstraction in that improper sense by which empiricist psychology and epistemology are dominated, a sense which altogether fails to seize what is specific, and whose inability to do so is even counted as a virtue. The issue of abstraction has a twofold relevance to a philosophical laying down of the foundations of pure logic. It is relevant in the first place since among the categorical distinctions of meanings which pure logic must essentially consider, we find a distinction which corresponds to the opposition between individual and universal objects. But it also has, in the second place, a particular relevance, since meanings as such, i.e. meanings in the sense of specific unities, constitute the domain of pure logic, so that to misread the essence of the species must in each case be to strike at the very essence of logic. It will accordingly not be unsuitable to tackle the problem of abstraction even at this early point in our introductory series of investigations, so as to assure the basic foundations of pure logic and epistemology by defending the intrinsic right of specific, or ideal, objects to be granted objective status alongside of individual, or real, objects. This is the point on which relativistic, empiricistic psychologism differs from idealism, which alone represents the possibility of a self-consistent theory of knowledge. To talk of idealism is of course not to talk of a metaphysical doctrine, but of a theory of knowledge which recognizes the ideal as a condition for the possibility of objective knowledge in general, and does not interpret it away in psychologistic fashion.